Hello everybody. How's everybody doing today? Today is Thursday already, June 6th, and I am here to do day 4 of the Mediterranean blooms. I almost called it magnolia blooms. I don't know why I keep wanting to do that. I'm just going to get everything pulled up on my end. I'm not sure that it's actually, there we go. I wasn't sure for a moment if it was actually live. We better make sure there's no volume there. And hi Karen, how are you? Oh, just opening the door to let Ruby in. She'll probably scratch to get let out. Hi Cindy, how are you? Did you place a pre-order yet, Cindy? Did you already, let me know, did you already have the glass mat? And if not, did you get it? Now she wants back out. Here she goes. Okay, you gotta go out or in, Tilly. All right, so it looks like it is all working here. I'll let Ruby back out. She'll probably scratch at the door again in a moment. I am Alana Wharf, Sleepless Stamper. I am in Winnipeg, Manitoba in Canada. And I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I can see that this is not quite lined up, so I am just going to move things. Sorry for moving this on you. It'll take me a moment just to make sure that it is straight, because it's not straight, so I'm going to just have you guys bear with me for a minute. Sorry, we thought it was all arranged before, and clearly it was not. So hopefully that's a little bit better. All right, so today is day 4. Hi Linda. You purchased a bunch. Oh no, you forgot the mat. You can still pre-order it as long as it's in stock. I think you have the month to do so. And I missed some of the pre-order items. I didn't even see them. So I may have to go in there and look again at what there is. All right, so I am going to make this card here for you guys today. You can see the liner falling out because I haven't put the liner in it yet, but I will make one with you guys. So this is day number 4. I will quickly bring back in the last 3 days so you guys can see them in case you are new to following along with the series. So this will be day 4. This is day 3. This is day 2. And this is day 1. I will open these up and show them to you so you guys can see them. So we started with day 1 and this beautiful frame and the Night of Navy paper and some of the lemons cut from the DSP. And then this was the inside. And then with the same layout, I kind of went with 1 layout, 2 looks. If you rotate that, you can get a landscape orientation. So I went with that and switched it out to oranges. I switched the DSP. I added in some mossy meadow. And then I made the inside completely different. So the inside has the gift card holder and all of these layers here. So we've got that for day 2. Day 3 was a case of the Global Design Project, Case the Designer, which was Krista Fratton. And she had created a card with a similar layout. And I can't remember if she did paper tearing or what her edge was, but I went with paper tearing on the edge and then made the inside. I should have done paper tearing on that actually. I feel like that would have been smart, but I did not put that together at the time. So that was card number 3. And then this is card number 4. I told you guys that I would be planning to make a card following one of the sketches in the catalog on page 22. Hi Melody, how are you? And so I pulled in page 22 and this one is, let me just find the sketch right here. So hopefully you guys can see that. I went with this. I'll bring it closer so you can see. So I offset the layers to one side and then I put the elements over here. So keep in mind when you're using a sketch challenge or even any kind of case challenge, it does not have to be exactly like what you see. You can make it exactly the same or the exact same elements, or you can use it kind of as a loose guide. So I went with this layout here and came up with this card. So this of course is one of the DSP patterns. I will just grab that one. That one is this one here with the oranges and lemons. So I'm going to cut this piece with you guys today. And then I tied in a little strip here of day number 1 DSP, this one here. So you can see some of the different patterns. This nice bold navy, another bold navy, and then we've got this soft floral one. We've got a variety of ones that look like tile on the back. So today I went with this one that looks like this on the back, and I have a layout plan for tomorrow too. So hopefully you guys will be able to tune in tomorrow. All right, let's get making this card. If you wish to, feel free to share the video. If you want to earn the kits from this week, then a $65 purchase with this host code or by submitting it to me I do have an order that I will have to place. If it's outside of when I'm ordering, then your best bet is to submit it online with the host code. But a $65 purchase will earn you all of the supplies to make this week's cards. Of course, I can't stamp anything for you, so you could sub out for other stamps, or if you have the bundle at home, then that works too. So I'm going to bring this in. We have, and I'll do the insert with you guys here. So I have a boho blue 4 1/4 by 11 card base. And then I have, this is going to go on the inside, which is not yet done. We're going to do that together. 4 by 5 1/4 white is what I put inside there. This is 4 by 5 Night of Navy. I have again used the Thanks from the Paper Pumpkin Thanks and Beyond dies. Now, you guys are probably wondering, what is this little element here? Do you remember me telling you guys that, and I showed it to you, I got some of the upcoming vellum. Demonstrators can now order it. So I got some of it in my artisan box from the online exclusives. I'm so excited to have vellum back. So I used this one here that looks sort of like denim. It's got like a slight texture to it. You can see this pattern underneath there, but I have gone ahead and you guys got to know there's no way I could hold off using vellum. So I've used that element there with the stitched nested labels. I used this die from the Magnolia Blooms dies, which I should bring in quickly to show you guys with the stamp set. So we've got the stamp set here. And then all of these, oh look, there's a piece of DSP in there. All of these beautiful dies that go with it. So this one is actually probably in my, it is not in my magnetic tray, but there is an extra leaf that, oh, it's this one here. This one here that I used. All right, so that is, there's very little die cutting. I'm going to use some for these little flowers. And then I also will do some other die cutting with you guys. I've been showing you guys different ways to add texture to these little blossoms. So I'm just gonna bring the cards back in to give you a reminder. On Monday, these little yellow blossoms, I stamped the little textured image. This one here, I stamped that on them to give them a little bit of texture. On Tuesday, I'll bring this close and hopefully you can see it. These little flowers here, we put them in one of the Fun Patterns embossing folders and then ran them through that to give a little bit of a star texture. It's from the center of the flower. And then yesterday, we did not use those. So today, I'm showing you a new way to get a little bit of depth in those little blossoms. So those are not prepped because I'm going to do that with you guys. And I have one piece of DSP to prep here too. So we're gonna prep the DSP together and make the inside together. All right, and then I have some scrap white as well, so I can just stamp these little flowers and color them in. So we're gonna do that together as well. All right. If you are here, do you have this DSP or the DSP or the bundle? I'm going to move this out of the way for just a moment so I can cut this. And then I'm going to give you the measurement of this real quick. I set my ruler aside. This one should be 3 3/4 by 4 3/4. It is 3 7/8 by 4 3/4. So I am going to cut this at 4 3/4. Now I just want to check where this pattern is and decide, do I want it to show this or, okay, yeah, we're gonna go that way. Oh, yeah, I love the vellum too, Karen. It's gorgeous. Okay, so this is going to end up being this side of my card. So I'm going to put this to 4 3/4. There we go. That's somewhat similar to that. And then I'm going to trim this down at 3 7/8. So I just need to snip 1/8 of an inch off. There we are. Okay, so that's that. Now I need to bring in my, I call it the slicer cutter. If you have the technical name, I'm happy for you to share with me. All right, so now I just need a little 1/2 inch by 4 piece. I don't want to cut a whole chunk off of here, so I'm just going to snip a little bit because I need this pattern here. So I am just going to go to the 1/2 inch mark here, and then I'm going to slice down to 4. There we go. And then I can rotate this, put this end where I sliced that to the 4 inches. And there we go. So now I have the little piece, but I've saved as much as I can all together there. Okay, so this, now you know what? I probably should have cut the whole thing because I bet you what I should do is, I told you guys I needed to design the inside of the card, and I do that with you. So let's just cut this whole thing off because I think this is what I'm going to put on the inside of the card. If not, oh well, I will have a 1/2 inch piece ready to go. So now I have a 1/2 inch piece there. And I just want to protect this other piece. I've got to tuck it away here. Sorry, guys. All right, now I'm going to put this away, and I will use my other cutter to cut the 4 inch. All right, so let's cut this. This should be 2 equal pieces at 4 inches left over. There we go. So now we have 3. I have 1 more for the front, and then I have 2 for the liner on the inside. Okay. So these are now the pieces that we need for the front. So we've got that all set to go. First, we are going to stamp the flowers and die cut the little flowers. So I've got some scrap white. And I'm going to bring in a little bit. Well, we'll see if this will do. Okay, so I have the stamps already on a block, and I'm actually going to stamp these in StazOn. I don't like stamping polymer stamps. Hey Audrey, how are you? With with StazOn, but I will use StazOn with rubber stamps. First though, because that has been sitting there on it for a little, like the ink has been sitting on my rubber for a little bit, I'll need to clean it off first. StazOn ink doesn't behave like our regular ink. So if you were to stamp this up with, say, navy and not clean it off, you could just go ahead and re-ink it again an hour later and it would be fine. But with StazOn, it almost, I think because it is like water resistant, it tends to make like a repellent coating on your stamp, and then you can't, it won't take the ink the same. So we need to actually clean off that StazOn first. So I just wanted to show you guys how you can do that. So I have one of the little StazOn cleaners. This is an old one, but it's the same stuff as what you can still get. So I just take that stamp. There's enough StazOn cleaner in that little pad on the top. So you can just clean that like that. And it will get that StazOn ink off. Regular cleaner will not remove StazOn ink. Now, I will also, I think I told you guys this last week. This has never been used in anybody's mouth. This is just for stamps. I like to just make sure I get all that off. And then I'll quickly clean it on a regular Stampin' Scrub. So when I've used StazOn cleaner or StazOn, I don't tend to use the chamois. I like to use my regular Stampin' Scrub. So I'll just put a little bit. I use the chamois for almost everything else. But I've sprayed the wet side and then I'll dry on the dry side. And you can tell which is the wet side and which is the dry side by just looking in this top corner. I don't know if you guys can see that on screen, but there are raindrops in this corner, which is for the wet. And then there is a sun in this corner, which is to indicate that that's drying. So spray to clean and then scrub to dry. All right, now my stamp is all clean and I can get it dirty with more StazOn. So if you ever have purchased some stamps, maybe from somebody else that are retired, and you cannot say they're rubber and stained with black, and you just can't get it off, perhaps they stamped with StazOn. So give that a try. All right, sorry, you're going to get a bit of table shake here for a minute. Now I'm actually going to stamp these on this one. There we go. And now this StazOn also comes with this little cover. You do not want to throw that away. I keep that, and it actually says do not discard on there. So keep that and protect your StazOn. It also smells like, I don't know what it is, amaretto, but it has like such a good smell. Okay, so now to color these, it is just a very, oh, I forgot my liner was in there. It has a very softly colored petal. Almonds. Oh yeah, that's it. That's what the smell is in amaretto, and it just smells so good. So I'm going to create a little palette. If you guys follow Stampin' Up! On social media, if you're not yet, you should. They post some really good stuff. They post different tips, techniques, sketches, stuff by the artisan team. Every week there's a tip and technique. I believe every week there's a creative post shared. And then they have other posts that they share too. So make sure you're following them. There was a reel that they shared last week with some coloring tips, which are actually in the catalog too. Let me see if I can quickly find them, because I did not realize that they were in the catalog until I was flipping through the catalog for some reason or other. I don't remember why, but I was. So on page 119, the projects that were in the reel, where this, I think it may have been Cindy, who did the coloring in the video, she recreated this one and showed you how to do the watercoloring techniques. And so I am doing one of them, which is right here. You can see that she made this little palette right here and then used her aqua painter to color in the image. Isn't that so pretty how she did that? Melody, I believe, was the designer, and then Cindy is the one that did the video for this one, maybe both of them. But some really neat watercoloring techniques. So go and have a look for that video, and you can save it and then come back to watch it. And I also found out that Caitlin is the designer. Caitlin works at in Concept Art, and she's the designer of this suite. So, like, very well done to Caitlin. Okay. Oh, Cynthia, you do have the suite. Awesome. So I have taken the pastels. I should have told you guys what this is. I just opened it up and went to town and didn't tell you. So these are the soft pastels assortment. This is actually the old one. I think one color has changed since the color renovation a year ago. So there will be one different color than what you see in my palette, and I should purchase the new one. I just keep forgetting about it. And so I am using, I hope it's not one of these, but I'm using the darker yellow. And if there's only one yellow, just use the one you have. And that is all I am coloring. So I just put a little palette of that on my basic white paper, and then it is stamped on basic white paper. So I know one of my team members asked on the Stampin' Up! Post, what paper did you color that on? And they answered me. I was just private messaging with them about the reel, and they let me know that this one was basic white. The other one with these flowers here, that was watercolor paper. So basic white, and you can see that there is some loose pigment on there. I had to think of what the word was, just wasn't coming to mind. And then you can use your aqua painter to just pick some of this up and color in your image. So I thought that that was such a neat technique. I hope that maybe I can figure this out, or have, like, I don't know yet what tomorrow's project will hold. I was hoping to maybe get the large image colored in with this method, but we'll see. And since I wasn't sure how it would play out for the rest of the week, I thought, you know what, for these little flowers for today, I will use this technique so I can at least show you guys what they did. So just keep picking up pigment from here. You don't want to put too much fluid in the bear or in the bristles because this is just basic white. You don't want to create this, you don't want to turn this into just a pilled up pile of paper. You don't want it to be too pilly. So just like very little fluid in there, just enough to pick that up and color that in. Okay, so now I can get rid of that. And I'll give this a moment to dry. I'm gonna save this because I can still use that to color more. And I'll show you guys what I actually started with. I thought I saved it here so that I could show you. And let me see, yes I did. I was going to do sort of like a paper toile was what my thinking was, but it's too busy on here. So I started with trying to, this was originally what I was doing before I settled on just the flowers, but I was going with this die and then I was going to try to create a patterned thanks out of it. And so I had die cut this, then placed it back in the negative space so that I knew what I was coloring, because when you have just the letters, it can be a little hard to see before it's colored what's what. So I thought, well, I'll pop it back in here and then color it in, but it didn't stand out, sorry, enough. See that? It just blended in too much. It needed, if I hadn't had the vellum behind it, if I had a solid behind it, it might work a little better. Here I have a piece of, like, that's a little better. But it just didn't work for this project. So I set that aside, went back to plain white thanks, and then just added the flowers in here. But I'm not throwing this away. This might turn into something. So we're just going to keep that. And there we go. All right, so these are colored. I will move them aside. Oh, now I'm sneezing. So I'll move those aside. I will end up die cutting them. But first, I ended up putting a little flower in the middle of each one of those. I actually should stamp another set because I think I will use them on the inside. So let's stamp another set. This is probably recent enough that, let's see if it works or if I need to clean this off. If you are stamping with StazOn and you stamp them right away, you don't have to clean it off in between. But let's see if that few minutes was enough that it doesn't pick up the ink. No, it seems to be okay, other than my little halo that I created there. Now, let's grab another piece of white. I'm not sure I'll fit two on there, so I'm just going to grab another piece. Okay. Sorry to make you guys wait. Now we will ink that up. There we are. We're good. Just excuse the halos. I'm not worried about it because we're going to die cut those. So I will quickly just color these two. And good thing I didn't throw this away. We're going to use that. And I didn't put the lid on my aqua painter. So bear with me. We're just going to color a few more of these. Have any of you colored with this method, or did you see the reel last week when they shared it from the Stampin' Up! Page? It is for sure on Instagram, but I believe it's on Facebook too. So if you are on, well, obviously you're on Facebook if you're here watching. And I will post these to YouTube as well afterwards. Ryan has been helping me get them posted there after. And if you're looking for a video to go back and rewatch, he has been trying to put the thumbnail of the video the thumbnail is a picture of the project. So it's a little bit easier to find there. Now maybe one day I'll learn how to do that on Facebook if there's a way, but at this time I don't know how. And I just come live. So hope you guys don't mind. There we go. Now let's see if this is enough pigment to finish coloring this little flower. Do you guys have any suggestions for next week? What do you want to see next week? We are debating between, we may possibly be switching our Stamp Club set because bundles are 10% off. So if you like this bundle, this is your time to get it, 10% off. And that's 10% off the already bundled 10% off. So I'm going to set these aside to dry for a minute. But we were supposed to use Spotlight on Nature, and the dies are on back order until the end of June. So we're just debating whether we switch it up and go with Layers of Beauty. But so I don't know that I'll use those on live next week because that's what we'll be using with Stamp Club. But let me know if you have any wishes of what you would like to see. Okay, so now I need these little flowers that are in the middle of this stamped flower. So this was how I got those little flowers with a little bit of texture. And now that I've finished coloring, I think this would be super cool. So I'm actually going to cut some of them from here and some of them from the DSP. So now I have two dies actually. That's the nice thing about the Magnolia, not Magnolia, see there you go, I called it Magnolia Blooms dies. This one has two of the, oh look, this one there's two large ones and one small one. I had not noticed that yet because I have been so focused on using this one. But you actually, so one of them has two large, one small, and the other has one large, two small. So I'm not using any of the large ones on this project. I am only using small ones, but let's see what we got. So we are going to tape this down. Now I do have to tape this so that I have, just going to flip this over. I don't see any of the small ones on there and they are covered on the front. So I'm going to tape this in place and I will get two from that little bit of the lemon. And then I'm going to tape this so that this little one goes on the corner here. All right. Okay, so I'm going to tape this in place. And then I'm also going to tape some of these down. So we can run a few things through at a time. I'm going to bring the little Stamp Cut and Emboss machine in and just snip some space between here and here. I'm just cutting this smaller so that there is extra room when it's going through the machine because I'm going to put more than one through at a time. Now we also have two sets of these flowers. So we're going to use those two because I need to cut enough to do the liner. So we're going to take all of these off, tape them all in place. So bear with me here while I get things all lined up. And then we'll bring the mini machine. I had the tape right here with me, you guys. Where did I put it? You guys are usually faster to spot it. Here, I put it to the left, way out of view. You guys would not have seen that one. Okay, so I'm actually going to just tear this smaller. This is the small guy. And then I just look, you can kind of see this petal has a little curl to it. So I just look for that one and match that up. There we are. Okay. Now I'll line up this one, same method. I just find the curly one. And is that the one? I think it's this way. There we are. There may be an easier way to mark these. Some people will mark the back with Sharpie or something like that. There we go. Oh, that one moved. That's no good. Redo that one. I think this paper is gorgeous. I love the paper. If anything, even if you're not into the stamp set, the paper can go such a long way. So again, if you would like to earn my card kits for this week, you can take advantage of my free card kit offer. With a $65 purchase, you will qualify for them. Just either use that host code well, you'll still need to just message me and say that you want the Mediterranean Blooms class. Now, again, I almost called it Magnolia Blooms. We used to have a bundle called Magnolia Blooms, and that's why I get stumped. And what's funny is in one of our online sales, not the one we just had, but the one before that, the person that bought it, somebody picked it up for her, and that guy ended up being the guy that came to fix our dryer today. He's like, have I been to your house before? It was so funny. He wasn't picking it up for his own family member. He was picking it up for someone else because he was in the city. So I thought that was funny. And particularly funny that I keep wanting to call this Magnolia Blooms. Okay, so we're going to die cut these. We need our base plate, and then we can put this plate, and then we're going to see how many of these we can fit in here at once. Hopefully quite a few, and then at least you guys watching me line all those things up will be, this one's going to go through separately, I think, unless, let's see if I can get this to fit. I don't want to snip that down in case I decide it, I don't know, just in case I use it for anything else. We're going to see if this can go through this way. Let's see how this works. There we go. This should hopefully fit through okay. Oh, I'm gonna have to straighten my mat. Sorry, guys. There we are. Sorry, I have a runny nose today. Like just since I got in here. I was fine before. It's either I get a tickle in my throat or a runny nose. Okay, so we have this pretty little flower from that's from my palette of pastels. So we're gonna use that. And then I have, now this is just because this gives them a little bit of different texture than just plain Daffodil Delight. Let me just, so you can see a little bit of variation in there. So we have, and they are a little bit different than each other too. Now we have one flower, whoopsie, or blossom. And I accidentally picked that other one up and almost threw it on the floor. Now we just need to do, okay, we have 3 and we need 6. So I am going to try to tape this on this corner here so that I can get one more there. And then we'll try to get a couple more out of this here. So actually we're going to rotate this. We're going to switch this around because now I only have one little one on here. So we're going to tape that single one onto here. And then I'll take the one that has the 2 small ones and place that on my palette here. But I need to extend it just a little bit. So I'll just put a little bit more pastel on there. So we're just going to extend this a little bit. And I'm going to leave the variation. I don't want it all one color. So we're just going to do that. And look, you can see how that, I dropped that die. I heard it fall off my finger. There we go. There we are. So now that's got yellow behind it all. So that will give us the 6 that we need. And now I just need to cut out the last set of flowers as well. So this is garbage now. I just got to make sure that I have no dies. Always make sure you take your dies off that paper. I can't tell you how many times I've been worried that I have accidentally thrown a die away. No, there was one night we were prepping for an event and we knew we had it because I had designed with it and we could not find this thing. We took apart the whole craft room and then I finally found it tucked. I had die cut something from a specialty pack of paper, so it was the ones with the little sticky flap. It was on the back, stuck between the adhesive and the back of the packaging, taped right in the flap. All right, there we go. So now we can put this back on, and hopefully just gotta get that wedged in there. Oh, I gotta do it from the other side. I have better luck when I can just hold that. Sorry, you get my arm in your face. When I can just hold it and get it going, that works better for me. So if you're ever having trouble, give that a try. There we go. So now we're gonna just peel all those off. We are done die cutting. I can get this out of the way. I just tossed an element off to the side there. There we are. Sorry about that, everybody. And I'm sorry for that loud noise. All right. Now we can bring all of this back in for now. There we are. So let's get all the little blossoms ready, and we will do that by gluing these little tiny blossoms. Now I had my little piercer here, and let's see, where did it go? We're gonna have to use the take your pick piercer. I'm not sure where I put it. Okay, so I need this little one right here. So we need 6 of these. Again, that's the ones from the little palette of pastel. You can see that because they're white on the back. I do not want to lose this little flower, so it's going to go right in the magnetic tray until I put it back. And these ones I should be able to just pop out. Okay, so we have, I'm gonna put these all together. Okay, so we should have, that's just the partial one, 6 of these and 6 of these. There we are. So you can see all the variation in those little centers. And now we are going to put a little dab of glue, and I'm just using a little tiny dot of Tombow. I am just putting a dot right in the center of the flower. That will be plenty to hold that tiny little flower. There we are. I thought I dropped one. I'm gonna move this. I'm about to lose that little set of flowers. Now this one we will put, now I'm staggering the pattern. I'll bring this closer so you can see. I think I just took the dab of glue off that one. So we'll just put another, it stuck to my finger. I touched that when I was trying to line the other one up. So what I could do is cover up my piercing tool and use my take your pick tool. And then what I'm doing, I'll show you after I place this one, is I am staggering the little die cut flower so that the points of the little die cut flower go in between the points of the stamped petals, if that makes sense. Okay, now I can just pick up the next one, place that down. Take your pick tool really can be your friend. This one I forgot to stagger. I don't know how I did that. Well, I staggered it, but it just didn't line it up very well. So I just used my piercer to move that over a little. And we'll do the same here. And the same there. There we are. So now we have those all set up. Okay. And then we're going to give them a little scrunch. I actually caught a minute of somebody else's live today. I don't remember who it was though. Oh gosh, I cannot remember who that was. And I don't remember if it was this flower or another flower, but they just took their piercer in their hand and to really quickly crunch that, they went like that, not piercer, sorry. Bone folder, but mine lifted my little flower off. There we go. good enough. You can just put it back in place. So I'm going to try that. And hopefully I won't squish the little, here I'll give them a little burnish and push those in place first. Again, make sure that they're held down. So just give a little, there. So just a super quick little crunch. And you put just the tip in there. There we are. And then they have a little bit more texture. There we are. There. Now they are ready to go, and we can assemble the card. Now, did I lose one? Where did it go, everybody? There should be 6, right? Oh my. It fell on the floor. How did it get down there? I didn't even crunch that one. All right, ready? One more time. I think that's so cute. There we are. Okay, so let's assemble. I am going to, what I'll quickly do is I'll put together one of the inserts real quick, and then I will do the front of the other card. Now, actually, I feel like, do you see how on the front I have this little leaf here? And in my other versions, I also put a little leaf. I feel like we need to do a little leaf. So I won't actually do the other liner just yet. I'm going to let you guys vote. So tell me, should I die cut another set of leaves to put inside the card with these? I'd love to know your guys' thoughts. So while I work on the front of this card, please comment and let me know if you think I should die cut some old olive leaves to go with that. And then that way I will do that at once afterwards. So I'm going to move these extra little elements aside, and I will watch for your comments. With this one here, I'm going to move this too. All right, so again, this is 3 7/8 by 4 3/4, I want to say. Yep, by 4 3/4. And then this layer is 4 by 5. Yep. And I am going to just tombow this. Now, I liked this larger piece to the side. Let's see, do I switch this like that? Sure, let's do that. I'm going to put that bigger diamond off to the right. So I need to just make sure, sorry, I just need to get some more glue. There we are. Now I need to offset this to the right. Okay, so we've got that. And before I'm going to end up dimensionaling this down, but before I do that, I want to adhere this little strip, because if it is too long or too short, I can still tidy up the layers, whereas once it's on there, I can't do that. So let's just see about where that goes. Okay. So this is going to go about right here. And let's see, there is a little hair. Oh, no, it's actually about exactly there. So we're good. Now I can dimensional this down to my card. So I've got full dimensionals here. And these are going to go, half one came off with that, so we're going to put that back. I don't need that just yet. There we go. Now we can adhere this. Hey, Michelle, how are you? So now this is going to get offset to the right and just lined up to the outside of the card. There we are. Okay, oh, you know what? I wasn't supposed to attach that yet. This was supposed to go underneath it. So you guys are going to learn a little trick here. If you have stuck something down and that is not where you want it, or you missed a layer, you can, if you're careful, I'm going to just heat this up. This will loosen the adhesive. I just used Tombow. And so I'm going to just heat up that strip of DSP. It's kind of silly that I forgot to put that on first. Okay, so we're going to try this now. And then that just loosens that adhesive up enough so I can just peel that off. And I'm going to place my little die cut underneath there now. So there's probably enough adhesive actually on there now that I can just tuck this underneath. And let's see, did I come far enough over? I might need to peel that back just a little bit more. And I am going to use this as a guide. I want about that much below. Yeah, I gotta go a little bit further. Sorry about that little error. So if you're following along, hopefully you are watching me now at the end before you go back and prep yourself a kit. There we are. So hopefully that is a useful tip for you. There we are. Now we can get the rest ready. So this is going to get glue dotted just right here. Sorry for my reach. And I do think we need to die cut these little leaves for the inside. What do you guys think? We've got that there. Now we're gonna get the thanks all ready with dimensionals. So I was telling you guys the other day that I like to save my borders for when I need thin little pieces and I can just snip them. I'm glad that that's helpful. I hope you don't find yourself in that situation where you need to peel things apart, but in the event that you do, I hope that's helpful. You just got to make sure that you heat it up enough to loosen it, but I have had to do that many times. Lots and lots. I probably shouldn't admit that, but well, you know what? I actually think it's fine to admit that because we shouldn't all think that if we make what we think are mistakes in crafting, that we aren't good. We all do, and it's how we learn things, right? Like I learned that from doing that. So I am certainly not the only one who could benefit from that tip. I have had to use it lots. Whoopsie. I think I put that too far over. So I'm just using these little pieces that I snipped from the borders, and I'm just putting them in the portions of the thanks die, the tall skinny portions there. And now from this side here, I'm going to cut a few that are a little longer for the taller parts of the letters. All right. You could also mount some white cardstock to the foam adhesive sheets, and that would work great. I just didn't bother to do that, but that is a trick for you too. Okay, so this is all set with dimensionals. Now I'm going to peel these backings off. I should have not peeled those yet. I'm actually going to use, I've got one of those flowers there, and I am going to peel the T off, and I'm going to put that little backing back on one of these other ones, and I am going to, actually we're going to cover that back up. Sorry for my back and forth on you guys here. I'm going to just, whatever, it's good. We are going to just tuck this little T right over here. Let's see, I went a little higher up on the other one. I don't want to go quite that low. So it's a little bit up from the bottom of the DSP. I need to put a glue dot on the back of this one. And I'm going to tuck, this is one of the larger flowers. And now, not all of these backings are peeled off, right? So now I'm just going to tuck that little flower in there. And now I can peel the rest of my backings off. Remember, I pulled some off already, so not every one of these will have. Okay, now with that flower in place, I can just slowly guide the rest of this down. And I just need to adjust that little N. There. I love this die, you guys. So there's the thanks, and we got to get all these little backings out of the way because they cling to everything. Okay, so we've got that one there. Now I'm going to take a little one and a glue dot. So this is one of the smaller 2 flowers. And when I crunched that one, the little blossom moved. So I am just adjusting it before I put this down. And I'm just going to tuck that a little bit under the S. And I have a spare. These ones are not textured. They're just going to be plain. I have one of these little blossoms, and I'm just going to crunch that. Whoops. And it's going to get a tiny little glue dot. And it's going to go right here. And I didn't angle it right. So if you need to remove something with a glue dot, if you just kind of wiggle it around instead of just pulling, usually if you do that, like stretch it around, it'll release the glue dot without ripping. I'm giving you guys all of the unassembly tips today. How about that? When you mess up, here's what you can do. So do as I say and not as I do sometimes. Hopefully you don't need that tip, but just in case. All right. Now I'm going to use my piercer again. We still have to do the inside of the card. And I have my little itty bitty rhinestones. I am not putting one on this flower. I am just putting one on these 2 on the right hand side. They're the only ones getting dressed up. And we will cover this back up. Otherwise, I am going to poke myself with that thing. All right, and I have 4 flowers left. Those are going to go, or maybe only one. We'll see once I get into the inside of the card. But I had asked you guys a couple minutes ago, should I die cut a green leaf for the inside of the card instead of just putting the little strip and the yellow, and I think it needs the pop of green. So I think we need to go ahead, as long as you guys don't mind bearing with me, so that we can put a little pop of green. Don't you think it needs a little pop of green, you guys? I think it needs a little bit of green there. So I'm going to quickly grab some Old Olive scraps and my mini stamp cut and emboss machine again. So I have my paper in a file drawer on my desk, and that's where I put my scraps. So my paper is elsewhere. It's in a shelf, but my scraps are in a file drawer. How do you guys store your scraps? Let me know. Awesome. Thank you, Karen. I think the same. I think it needs a little bit of green. So I'm just going to move that aside for a minute. We don't want to lose that. And I'm going to grab the die, which is this one, and the mini stamp cut and emboss machine again. It needs the pop of color, especially with that yellow and navy. Sorry, it's a little bumpy here. All right. There we go. Okay, so we've got one. And we'll run that through again. Now I want to keep the orientation the same, and the other leaves are not the same as this one. So that's why we are doing this one, one and then the other, instead of just popping 2 different dies on here at the same time. For some reason, I have more momentum going the other direction with the little machine here. Okay, there we are. I'm sorry for the sound of closing that machine. All right, so we have these, and now let's get these ready. So I put the other one right here, and we've got all this ready to go. Oh, and I still need to add a baker's twine bow to the front of the card. Large Ziploc bags by color, and you stand the bags in a plastic bin. Cool. And do you find that you dip into them to use them? I definitely use my scraps. I mean, I don't use them. I end up with an accumulation sometimes, and I have to thin them out, but I definitely use them. Sorry, just having some water. All right, let's glue these little strips down. I use enough of my scraps that I don't know that I could just throw them all away, or like, I mean, I donate some too, so that's helpful when they get, look at that, that one's too wide. When they get too full, or when one size is like so bulky that in the folder that I can't store all my paper. That's a little crooked. There we go. Can you guys hear Ruby scratching at the door? Yesterday, I think I had 3 toys piled up at my feet when I was finished. Maybe my class, because I had a class right after the live. All right. Okay, so we have that. Now let's check this out here for the inside. So I think we're going to do that. And this, I have been having fun decorating the inside. Yes, you use them, you keep them in the, yeah, for sure. I think that's a great idea. So I probably didn't need to squish these ones because they're on the inside of the card, but that's okay. Let's see if I maybe do that. Now set my glue dots down somewhere and just gotta find them. I do love it when I go to the work of decorating the inside of a card, and I often don't, but doing these weekly or week-long series has prompted me to, and I kind of really like it. Nope, that is way too centered. I didn't like that one. There we go. So we've got a large and a small. And remember, we'll give that a little wiggle. It just kind of stretches it. There we go. There's so many different ways of storing things that it is nice to hear what other people do and what ways we can help each other. So offset that a little bit. Whoops, wrong size. And these ones I'm not putting rhinestones on because they are on the inside of the card. And I don't want that extra bulk. We've got enough extra bulk with the petals flipped forwards a little bit. So that'll be good for thickness on the inside. Now we can glue these down, and as usual, I am not going to use my Tombow. I think I tell you guys this every day now that I've been putting liners inside the cards. I don't like the little indent that Tombow leaves on the basic white, and because there is a lot of white space here, if I had a lot of stamping on it, then you wouldn't see it, but we don't have that. So I am just using the Stampin' Seal Plus, and I find then I don't get any of those little marks, and I can just adhere that. There we go. And you could always stamp on the inside if you wanted to. Especially when I give a thank you card, I often write more, so there we go. But you can do whatever you wish with the inside of your card. And in theory, a boho blue card. It does not necessarily need a liner because it is light enough that you could write on it and you would never notice. But I've been having so much fun dressing up the inside of the cards that why not? I thought I was ready to go and realized I haven't put anything on the inside. So I wanted to make sure that I did that with you guys. So one last little touch, I have a Baker's Twine bow here. And so I will add another one to this card here. And we'll just cinch this back a little bit. I find, in case you haven't seen me do this before, if I hold the knot when I'm cinching one side back or the other, then it helps keep the loops flatter and avoids twisting. So just hold your knot steady when you're pulling the sides back to cinch your loops back a little bit if you need to. All right. And this is the Stampin' Up! Baker's Twine. It's just some that I had before we switched to the multi-packs. But it is the same twine. There we go. So I just have a tiny little glue dot there. And I'm just tacking that kind of right where the little leaf is, up by the little nook in the T. There we are. So that is today's card. I hope you guys like that one. And even if it's not your thing, the paper or the stamps or the colors, use the layout or something that you learned. And, or I don't mean to say use layout. I hope that you will find something useful that you can use in your paper crafting. I'll just give you a quick recap of where that layout came from. On page 22 of the annual catalog, Stampin' Up! Has given us some inspiration in the form of sketches. So I have gone with this sketch here, and that is how I came up with today's card. So while I was planning out what cards I would do through the week and how to use the different patterns of DSP, I knew that I wanted to pull a sketch from here. I wanted to do the global design project and different things like that. So don't be afraid to look elsewhere. Look in the catalog, look at challenges and things like that for inspiration when you need a little help to get going with your creating. And don't ever feel like you're welcome to do it just like that, but you're also welcome to switch it up. Go with different patterns, go with different colors, and use the things you learn to make it your own if you need to. All right, so that's card number 4. I will quickly bring back in cards number 1, 2, and 3. So here we have card number 1, and then we have card number 2, card number 3, and this is card number 4. So I will be back tomorrow with card number 5, and I will likely be earlier tomorrow. I am guest presenting at 7 p.m. for a group of demonstrators in the US. So I will not be able to go at 7. So I will update to let you guys know. And actually, if you're here and if daytime tomorrow works for you, something like, I don't know, probably 1:30 or 3:30. I just have to decide how it'll work. We don't have anyone coming to fix appliances tomorrow, so that part is good. But it'll likely be during the day, or at least it will be earlier. I won't be able to do it at 7, but I will go live tomorrow with project number 5, and hopefully you guys will tune in. Hopefully you're liking the cards this week. And again, comment and let me know if there is a bundle that you want to see, or even a stamp set. It doesn't necessarily have to be a bundle, but comment and let me know what you guys want to see for next week. So if you would like to earn the kits, again, you can do a $65 purchase with this host code, or you can contact me to have it go in with my Stamp Club order, and that works as well. So $65 will earn you the supplies to make these 4 cards and the one for tomorrow as well. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. See you tomorrow. Good night.